I've spent 20 hours learning Mei. Here is how it went. You can check out the first 10 hours of the challenge I did on Mei. It was about 2 months ago, so you will be able to see and compare character development just like in anime. It is actually really interesting how perception of the character changed tremendously throughout these months as I've started being a better player, understanding a lot more about the game in general, and oh man, I love Mei even more than I loved her before. Obviously, in that time, my walls are a lot cleaner, my left clicks and right clicks are so much more accurate, and I'm just able to pump out more damage while assisting my teammates with walls. I absolutely love Mei due to the fact that she is a massive off tank, and the self-sustain option is super duper nice when you can literally not care about your teammates and just go for yourself and make sure that you are safe and healthy all the time without the need to constantly ask for health on supports. Let's go for next hour. I feel like my hour 1 was a bit of a warm-up hour when I remembered how to play the character, because 2 months gap, even though I've played a few Mei in between, simply when I wanted to counter Genji or something like D.Va or Sigma. We'll talk about counters a little bit later in this video, but yeah, this second hour was super duper exciting due to the fact that I was finally able to cook like a madman on Mei. It feels like I have unleashed the potential on the character and the games were super close. And you know, these are the moments when you realize that sometimes you are literally a person that can ruin the game or win it for your team. So I was cooking like crazy in this particular match. It's really interesting how Blizzard goes through roofs. I never knew that. At least it slows down the enemies. And I was going for massive destruction on the enemy team. Ooh. It's really interesting how I absolutely love holding those chokes on Mei, and when the person comes out, they actually never expect you to wall them off of your team, of their team. And when the enemies are breaking through that little gap in the wall to heal the teammate, he is already Omaiwamu Shinderu. He's already in the lobby waiting for the chance to return. So I was fighting like an absolute lion. Unfortunately, when it comes to Reaper, it's really hard to play Mei. It's really interesting how it's 1-1 and they are going for this super duper dive setup with Doom and Tracer. Seems like Tracer is pretty bad against Mei, as you always at the risk of just getting one icicled, as well as there is no way to duel a good Mei when you're a Tracer player, simply because of her self-sustain, icicle, and yeah, it is just borderline impossible. Here I'm cooking like an absolute madman, and it's 73-73, very close game. I absolutely love when it's like that. They res the Doom, we're going for the Tracer here. Seems like he ran out of blinks. Okay, so one of the last fights of this game, I was going for a beautiful defense onto that Moira. Jesus, man. I don't feel like I would be able to do that in the first 10 hours, for sure. And here a very interesting thing is gonna happen. I'm not gonna spam my Blizzard here due to the fact that we are absolutely destroying all of them. Nice collateral left click burst, and this is when the fun will be ruined. Oh, we are going for 95-99, and I should have probably Blizzard right here on the spot, and as I do, I get hacked. Oh no, man. And we'll lose the game as a result. That was so unfortunate. You know, sometimes you have a feeling where even though you are doing everything well, it's just not the right map for Mei, or it's just not the right comp, or enemies are borderline super duper countering you. So I started off as Mei on Junker Queen defense, and a few players got picked off by the Widow, and there is nothing we can do to save ourselves here. So after a few swaps, I tried oh yeah, I'm gonna die here, I'm gonna try Hanzo, I'm gonna try another character, Tracer, I think. But after they were able to progress through the second point, this is when Mei comes in super duper handy and actually overpowered due to the close quarters and the ability to wall off an entire sector of the area that will allow you to absolutely cook with your left click. Like, look at that. Opponents are super duper slow. It is just a disaster and a half for the enemies here, and we were duper super cooking. We're going for the ultimate on the spawn camp. Luckily this Cassidy was able to find the correct way out, but still. And here is a cool highlight of me diffing everyone on the Widow. Nice. I came to realization that when I'm trying to OTP a certain character, I'm just putting too much pressure on my teammates in ranked, and this is not only not fair, but I feel like you really don't want to do that due to the fact that, let's take an example where they would go for Pharah Mercy and you are still playing Mei, and it doesn't matter how hard your second DPS hit scan is hitting that Pharah, he's just getting constantly pocketed by Mercy. So, yes, he's dealing damage, but this damage is getting constantly healed. So every single time I would run into a hard counter, I would switch just to wait for opponents to switch back so I can get back to Mei, if that makes sense. So here we are going for an absolute defetch onto this Genji player. I feel like the worst counter for Genji would definitely be Mei, due to the fact that you literally cannot do anything against that character, as well as the fact that you really don't want to get close. Your deflect is not working, as her ice cream cooling machine is working like crazy with the left click. Happy little accident accurate on the screen here. And that was so lucky that I headshotted this guy, and then I'm like, yo, we can actually go and try to touch the point. That's exactly what I do here. I should not have woken this guy up. Maybe he would have slept for a little bit longer here. But anyways, massive defetch onto our opponents here. That was actually super duper lucky. Sometimes enemies are gifting you a chance to like, just like in chess, right? Opponents are making mistakes that are not allowing them to progress forward. Here we are going for a beautiful icicle. I actually zoned out the wrecking ball, which was super duper smart, and as a result this guy was able to get into a fight a lot later than he should have if he would have just rolled back, right? Unfortunately, we were cooking and cooking and cooking, but it was super duper not enough, and it will take us almost like, yeah, overtime to get the first point, which was super strange due to the fact that I was playing pretty well and my Ramattra was playing pretty well. So yeah, this is going to be one of the last moments in the game. Unfortunately, we lost it. Stuff happens. You know what's really interesting? The more I play this game, more I realize that sometimes you can literally play anything you possibly want and still win the game. So it doesn't matter what kind of character you're playing. All that matters is how much value do you get in certain fight-to-fight scenario. So right here, Circuit Royale. This is known to be a sniper map, and you really want to go Sigma, you really want to go Hanzo and Widow here, Baptiste maybe for the window and splash heals, but I was cooking on Mei. Of course, as I have said, until a certain point, until a certain skill level, you can actually take whatever you want and still have massive value. And Sigma is just super duper horrendous as a tank choice when it comes to playing versus Mei. We'll speak about counters a little bit later. I feel like I've spoken about them in my first part of the Mei challenge, when it was legit 0 to 10 hours. Right now, it feels like I'm going for hour 1, hour 2, or 3 as well, simply because like, if you are walking into the same river, it is not the same, because it's either you, a different man, or it's a different river. You know, there are games and hours that you wish you'd never I even opened Overwatch, but I feel like they are our greatest teachers because they are telling us about acceptance. They are telling us about things that we have to be grateful for. And you know, when you are getting diffed, it is 10 times more useful for your self-improvement than the moment where you are diffing your opponents. Or when you are playing against opponents who are higher skilled than you, when you are playing into a comp that you literally cannot defeat, there are so many things that you can learn from that. You can copy the comp and try it yourself in future games. You can rewatch the VOD and like analyze your own replay to see where you failed and what can you improve. So if you ever feel discouraged, make sure that you are going for the correct mentality and learning from your mistakes. Hour 17 of my Mei practice, and what a game to be alive. This was the highest elo game I've played so far on Mei, and we were going for the comps, we were constantly going for the correct comp. Finally, I have Reinhardt as my tank, which seems super counterintuitive, but when you look at both Mei and Reinhardt kits, you realize that they are made for each other. There is literally a super duper 100% correlation between you diffing your opponents with Reinhardt with Mei and absolutely losing everything with just Reinhardt itself. Beautiful wall to zone out Junker Queen. And we were going for a complete domination. I was able to cut off the defense here, and we were able to get the point as a result. This was one of my favorite things to do on Mei, and oh my god, my walls are so freaking good right now. I'm looking at my highlights, I'm like, wow, this is actually great, man. And he swapped to a reset, thinking that he will be able to counter Reinhardt, but yes, you can definitely counter Reinhardt with a Risa, but when you have Mei, oh my god. The amount of cool moments I've had just from this particular game was like through the roof. And we were going for Mei Symmetra, which is also pretty cool. And sometimes when you are diffing your opponents, it feels like they have nothing more interesting to just try to copy your character and maybe diff you 1 versus 1 on Mei or diff you 1 versus 1 on Symmetra. A beautiful moment here where I dodged the Orisa ultimate while throwing my own, and we were just going for a complete domination with 2.5 minutes on the clock and 3 points under our belt. Going for the difference, they kind of switched the approach a little bit and went for D.Va and Pharah, which is super duper interesting. It feels like my hit scan was doing okay. Oh my god, I actually never realized that I headshotted this guy. Oh my god, that was such a clean moment, man. And here we are going for the D.Va Genji. It feels so nice to trap people with walls. I don't know how to explain this feeling. This is just so good. And here we were able to cancel the coalescence with our ultimate. Went for the Moira kill. I'm still trying to play very carefully behind the cover when it's necessary, and always making sure that I'm not exposing myself to multiple threats. I'm still new to the game, and it feels like I would be able to win many more games if I were to be a little bit more accurate and a little bit better with my decisions. Yet, absolute cookage in this game, and we were able to get the W as a result. Nice. Hour 8, and let's talk about the best characters that you can counter on Mei. So it feels like you really want to get as many characters under your belt to really play that rock paper scissors efficiently in Overwatch, and Mei is just an exceptionally strong pick against characters that want to get close to you but cannot run away. Orisa, Sigma, D.Va, sometimes even Zarya can be a can experience massive problems when fighting against Mei, simply because she really wants to get close to be in a range of a beam, but then you wall her off and she is having quite a lot of troubles with you. And if you look at the best characters for you, I would say that every single brawl tank, whether it's gonna be Zarya, whether it's gonna be Reinhardt, whether it's gonna be Ramattra, all of them are super duper cool because you can wall off your opponent, the tank, or a DPS who's playing a little bit more aggressive than it should, and you are just going for a massive, massive, complete cookage in that regard. When you look at other characters, it feels like support-wise, Kiriko can be exceptionally good, Ana can be exceptionally strong, Nano Mei is pretty decent combination, you would ask me, because you can just run forward, press W, press left click, and just completely beam everyone that you see in range. Such a great moments I have. It feels like my icicles are on point. It feels like I finally was able to place walls exactly where I want to place them, because you know, sometimes you have a problem where you really want to place the wall somewhere and it's like 10 meters away from that, or you barely miss that person and he like boops over the wall. Sometimes that happens. Well, I certainly had less and less moments like that the more I played the character, and it was super duper nice. Orisa was just struggling quite tremendously against me, like here, boom, I'm just walling him off and there is nothing supports can do. They are jumping in just to die from cringe, because like, yeah, this is not how you're supposed to play. And Mei is exceptionally strong at punishing the aggression. Mei is exceptionally strong at brawl comps, and honestly, even in Overwatch League, people usually play this character and get massive advantage over and over again at their opponents. Here we are going for a nice wall, going for headshots on Ana, just a complete disaster for the enemy team, simply because they're playing Genji, because they're playing Orisa and Cassidy, and all of those characters are very vulnerable when it comes to Mei. Like, look at that. Oh my god, man. I actually died from cringe here, but that's not a problem. And here was the last fight. We're going for EMP, we are going for the Blizzard, and I was able to touch the point, and as a result, we were able to cook this game and win it. Very, very nice. What a game to be alive, man. What a game to be alive. When it comes to direct counters, of course, every single flying character is your worst enemy due to the fact that your right click is not a hit scan, it's a projectile. It can be significantly hard to hit flying characters such as Mercy, that's like flying in her GA, or it's gonna be Mercy or excuse me, Pharah or Echo. It feels like it's super duper hard to play against, who else is there? Hanzo and Widow are also big problem for you, simply because you want to close the distance, but they are usually not allowing you to do so. I don't know, other characters, it's really interesting. Sometimes you can get a massive problem where you are playing versus Kiriko, simply due to the fact that she can actually cleanse out your ultimate and there is literally nothing you can do. The characters with escape have really good chances to escape your ultimate as well, but overall Mei is just an amazing choice when it comes to again, punishing the aggression, playing that whack-a-mole game where you are going for an opponent that is aggressive like beyond belief. Aggressive beyond belief. Oh yeah, Bastion can also be exceptionally horrible due to the fact that he can break your wall in a second and make your life a little bit harder than it should be. So yeah, these are the characters that you have to really like. Maybe you should change Mei, or change the approach that you are playing the character and go for a different strategy. All in all, my aim has improved quite tremendously. I've getting accustomed to the projectile. I am getting used to literally the whole make it. My walls are so much better. My ultimates are so much better. And of course, I am not an expert with 20 hours. This has to be a joke. I feel like you have to have at least like 200 or something to pull off some insane plays and be called an expert onto that. But I feel like 20 hours is definitely enough time to really get the feel of the character, to ask yourself, do I really like playing her? Is that for me? Or should I go for a different type of character or even a different role? Because Mei, I feel like Mei is not for everyone, but when it's your character, it is such a pleasure to play this character. Here we are going for overtime, they are going Doom, they are going Echo, and unfortunately for them, it was just not enough to win the game. Here Doom is getting hacked, Sombra is just such a great counter to this player. This guy gets hacked, this guy gets walled, and oh my god, man. And we are going for attack, we just need to push the payload a little bit further than out of the spawn. We're getting the kill onto the Sigma and Baptiste, and boom. That's gonna be a W. So after I've spent 20 hours playing Mei, what are my conclusions? What have I found out about the character that I were so clueless about when it comes to like my 0 to 10 experience? Honestly, Mei is all about practice, and the character seems very easy, but in reality, he is very easy, or she is very easy, excuse me. You literally have a wall, and then an icicle, and then left click and right click. It's not like rocket science, or you are not playing Tracer or Echo, yet. It's all about your mechanical skill and understanding of different character velocity, so you can adjust your projectile speed to match theirs and get more kills as a result. In terms of my enjoyment of the character, this is the first character that I did 20 hours on, and it's an absolute S tier in terms of how I like the character. Very fun to play, very easy. You can work with the tank, you can work without the tank, you can literally be played to almost every single combo and every single map and still be very useful. In terms of the character in the mid-season 4 patch, I would say that Mei is an A tier character with the ability to be S tier against certain comps, against characters that she is countering. All in all, I had great experience and will definitely continue doing 20-hour challenges later on in the future. Thank you very much for your kind words and your comments. See you in the next one. Take care.